Solid figures. Great day, children! Welcome to my classroom. For today's lesson, you are going to learn on how to visualize and describe the different solid figures such as cube, prism, pyramid, cylinder, cone, and sphere using various pictorial models. Let's begin! Before we move on to our new lesson, let us have a review on our past lesson. Do you still remember the basic operation of integers? Remember, in adding integers, if the signs are the same, keep the sign and add the absolute value of each. If they are different, keep the sign of the higher absolute value and subtract to the smaller absolute value. In subtracting integers, change the operation from subtraction to addition. Get the opposite sign of the second number and proceed with regular addition of integers. For multiplication and division of integers, if the signs are the same, the sign of the product or the quotient is positive. If they are different, the sign of the product or quotient is negative. Very good! You still remember? Let us start by looking at the objects around you. For 30 seconds, I want you to write on a piece of paper all the objects with length, width, and height you see in your area. You can pause the video if you need more time. Your 30 seconds starts now. Here are the lists that you might find in your area. Pans, marbles, shoebox, cabinets, and ball. Other objects not on the list but with length, width, and height are also correct. The objects on your list are called solid figures. But what are solid figures? Solid figures or three-dimensional figures are objects with length, width, and height. Moreover, they may have faces, edges, and vertices. Face is the flat surface of a solid figure. Edge is formed when two faces meet. Vertex is the point where edges meet. Let's take a look at some solid figures and identify them. We have a shoebox, traffic cone, canned goods, Rubik's Cube, a tent, and a basketball. Buildings, furniture, appliances, toys, and even people themselves are called solid figures. Let's examine this shoebox. It has length, width, and height. That's why it's called three-dimensional figures with the three dimensions length, width, and height. Let us talk about the list of common solid figures. We have the cube. All its faces are square. It has 6 faces, 12 edges, and 8 vertices. Prism. It is a solid figure whose two sides are congruent polygon. The other faces, which are called lateral faces, are parallelograms. There are different types of prism. First, we have the triangular prism. With triangle as its basis, it has 2 triangular bases, 3 lateral faces, 9 edges, and 6 vertices. We also have the rectangular prism. With rectangle as its basis, it has 6 faces, 12 edges, and 8 vertices. We have pentagonal prism. With pentagon as its basis, It has 2 pentagonal bases, 5 lateral faces, 15 edges, and 10 vertices. We also have hexagonal prism. With hexagon as its basis, it has 2 hexagonal bases, 6 lateral faces, 18 edges, and 12 vertices. Next we have the pyramid. A pyramid is a space figure in which one face is called the base, and the other face is called the lateral faces, which are triangles having a common vertex called the apex. There were also different kinds of pyramid. We have the triangular pyramid, square pyramid, rectangular pyramid, and pentagonal pyramid. We also have cylinder. A cylinder is a solid figure with 2 circular bases that are congruent and parallel. Cone. A cone is a solid figure with a circular face, and all line segments form a circle made at a vertex called the apex. Lastly, we have the sphere. A sphere is a solid all points of which are of the same distance from the center. Let's have some exercises using this video. Kindly write on paper all the objects that you will see. Then we will identify each one on which solid figures it corresponds.
It's a world of cubes, it's a world of spheres, it's a world of cones and of pyramids. There are cylinders and rectangular prisms, yes, it's a 3D world after all. 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 It's a 3D world. It's a world of cubes. It's a world of spheres. It's a world of cones and of pyramids. There are cylinders and rectangular prisms. Yes, it's a 3D world after all. 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 It's a 3D world. It's a 3D world after all. It's a 3D world after all. It's a 3D world after all. It's a 3D world.
If you want to play the video again, you may do so. Just rewind the video, then answer this. What solid figure does the pictorial model represent? Let's start first with the first picture. You're right! It's a cube. How about the second picture? Correct! It's a sphere. How about the following pictorial model? Yes, it's a rectangular prism. How about the next picture? You are right! It's a cylinder. Lastly, can you guess to which solid figures the following pictorial model corresponds? Correct! The first one is a cone. You are right again! The second one is a pyramid. Let us try to connect the following pictorial models to the solid figure they represent. For the first picture, what solid figure does the canned good represent? Correct. Cylinder. How about the tent? Yes, you're right. Pyramid. How about the traffic cone? Yes, the traffic cone represents the solid figure cone. How about the ball? Correct, it is a sphere. How about the Rubik's Cube? Yes, the Rubik's Cube represents the solid figure cube. Last but not the least, we have the shoebox. Yes, it's a rectangular prism. For our next activity, let us try to identify what kind of solid figure represented by each real object. I'm sure all of you are familiar with these objects. Let us try the first one, the box of Eden cheese. What solid figure does the box of Eden cheese represent? Yes, you're right. It's a rectangular prism. How about the clock? Correct. It is a cube. How about the marbles? Correct. They are sphere. How about the tent? Yes, it's a pyramid. How about those ice cream? Yes, they represent cone. How about the last picture? Correct. It represents cylinder. Good job, kids! Before we end, let us have a recap on our lesson. Solid figures are three-dimensional figures that has length, width, and height. They may have faces, edges, and vertices. Face is the flat surface of a solid figure. Edge is formed when two faces meet. Vertex is the point where edges meet. Examples of solid figures are cube, prism, pyramid, cylinder, cone, and sphere. Congratulations! You may now start answering your learning tasks on your self-learning modules. You can go back to this video if you missed something. I hope you learned from this video. Thank you very much and stay safe, kids!